Hey guys, this is Naji Assafiri
and Paria Pourmozafari
on the Business Club. Whether you're an employee, a business owner, a fresh graduate, a student, or anyone that is seeking career and business tips,
this is the show that will guide you to your goal to achieve a better you, a more informed you, and give you a new perspective on seeing things.
Business Club, you lead.
We follow up.
Business Club,
sponsored by Fury Hotel.
And now, let's get down to business. Today we'll be mainly talking about 6 tips to sell more to existing accounts.
And we will also interview Mr. Stefan Kleinhans, who is the director of the International School of Schweifat. And we will ask him questions regarding educational business so we can learn from his experience.
For this episode, we chose Sir Richard Branson. And if you don't know him, he is born on 18 July 1950. And he is an English business magnate, investor and philanthropist. He founded the Virgin Group, which controls more than 400 companies. And we will be discussing together his tips on becoming successful in business. Guys, you can find our YouTube videos and all our social media platforms on our website www.mradioiraq.com. Stay tuned, all of that and more after this short break. Business Club, you lead.
We follow up. And now, we will share with you 6 tips to sell more to your existing accounts. We want to remind our listeners that Fury Hotel is the official sponsor of the Business Club. You can also download M Radio Iraq, the mobile application, and listen to us from your phone whenever and wherever you are. Let's begin.
So guys, let's talk about the 6 tips to sell more to existing accounts. And what do we mean by that? Paria, could you explain to our listeners?
You know, as a company, we either provide services or products, right?
Yeah.
So to make more money, more revenue, we have to always think about the ways and the strategies to sell more, right? So there are many tips, but we chose 6 tips for our listeners today. And the first one is going to be, which we talk about, is going to be select the right accounts. There are many accounts all over the place, right? In wherever you live, whatever your company is. But there are some of them that you have to focus on more. Do you know what kind of those accounts you have to focus on more?
I'm not sure. Tell me.
So I'm going to tell you. Some of them, for some reasons, either they are bigger or they are in a certain kind of industry or location, maybe closer to you. Maybe their strategies are more similar to you and your company, and they have a stronger relationship with you. So you have to focus on those companies first to grow your selling, you know, to grow your sales. So once you make sure which one are the priorities for you, which accounts, then approach them first and try to make a stronger relationship with them so that they know about your strategies and they know that you are kind of similar in these way of think. What do you call it? Point of view in business. So after you make sure about that, even try to open some new ideas to those companies because they're going to be more open to you. So because you already proved, right, that you are in the same page almost to them. So they're going to be more open to your new ideas, and they think that you are actually working out for them. You are not you're not trying just to sell. You are with them. You are always with them. You think about what kind of ideas you have for that company first. So target those accounts first that you know you can have a quicker relationship, and put specific plans for those companies. And then if you want, go ahead with the other kind of clients. But those are easier to grow in your budget, in your plans.
And the second thing you really should watch out for is knowing your customer's agenda and plans, future projects, what they're planning to do. because once you know that, then you know exactly what they need, and you can increase your sales. So for example, if you are, let's say, an advertising company, and you know your client has a new product coming the next month, you can prepare an advertising campaign as a campaign for this client, and you can expect what type of advertisement would be good for that product, rather than them calling you and telling you, hi, I just got this. Because then if they call you and you'll say, yeah, I know, and here's the plan, it's ready, they will feel important. They feel
Definitely
that you care and you are following up their agenda. And that is very important to do in business. Once you focus on your client, or let's say if you are in the products for construction materials, you're selling these type of things for the projects. If you know your clients, let's say is a contractor, and you know he has an upcoming project, and you prepare what you're going to offer him, then you will have a much higher chance in selling him your products, because you are monitoring his projects.
This will impress them, actually.
Definitely. And it's always better when you know your client's business and agenda, to not waste your time or their time, because sometimes you might have something that you are offering that is not related to their business, that is not in their need, and you will be wasting your time.
And as you mentioned, sometimes maybe a company doesn't have any plan, for example, for marketing in this year. This happened to me.
Yeah.
Why would you spend time and effort to go visit them every month, every week, when they have no plan for marketing for this year? Maybe in the second part of the year they will have it, but not the first part, the first 6 months. So you don't really need to follow up with that. So yeah, it's important to know about your clients, the company's obstacles, plans, priorities, to help yourself grow your account. So the more, there is a lot of important tips, but there is one more thing. You have to do something in your company, whether you are an advertising agency or event agency, whatever. You provide products, you provide services, whatever. So you have to time put a plan to have a brainstorming session in your company regarding to know your accounts more, especially the existing account, because you already work with them, right? You know some of those secrets, those obstacles, those plans, and whatever related to that account, right? So in general, they call it value discovery session. And what we have to do is to strategize internally in regard to know the client, the existing client, more than before even, so that whenever you go to them, you go back to them for the next project, they can feel this, they can get this vibe that you know them better, and you have improved your knowledge regarding to that account. So they will let you sell more to them. This is how we can grow your account. Another tip.
And it's also very important to be proactive. What I mean by that is following up, making sure that your client has all your updates on your offers, and really knowing how to keep in touch with your client, keep your communication strong with your client. There are many times that many customers have complained to me that, Naj, my competitor came and he took this customer from me. I don't know why I lost this project, even though I was prepared for it, even though I was ready for it.
I met them a lot of times.
Why? It's because we are not following up on clients. And this is what happens when you go out of the market, because the market changes and people change, the positions changes, and the general manager goes, another one comes, and you might say, okay, client A already knows me, he knows my offers, he knows what my company, so I don't need to go and talk to them or see them again. No, you have to keep following up.
Or maybe you keep going and visiting, but you don't really offer anything new. Like you have sent a presentation or a proposal before, and you keep sending the same thing with the same platform, same design.
Yeah.
Like even if you're meeting them, you have to maybe sometimes instead of just talking about something unrelated, you just say, by the way, do you remember that we provide this service or related services to this kind of issues? So he might just forget sometimes, even if you meet them. It doesn't mean that even visiting just is not enough, right? In your visits, you have to again remind them of what you can provide. And even sometimes I do this, like as an event management manager. Sometimes I know there are some things that companies are asking related to events, but I'm not providing it at the moment. So I just say, even if you think I'm not providing it currently, just ask me. Maybe I can add it to my services, and I don't know about it right now. Maybe if you ask me as a client one day, I'll think about having this service in my... So just keep your services open, even though not like saying, I provide A to Z, I provide everything, because that's not professional. So you have to choose a criteria for your services, but at the same time, keep your offers open. Just let them ask for anything related to your business, and you can get it. You can grow your accounts in this way.
Yeah, definitely. It's always also very good to create a friendly friendship relationship with your client. I'm not saying do that with all your clients, but it's always good to do that, especially with the important clients, the ones that you feel are related to you, and not just for business purposes, but to really grow yourself in the market and grow your relations, because public relations is one of the most important spot
Definitely
in selling your clients.
And you know what? The next tip is about knowing what you provide. If you're a sales manager, especially a sales manager who's going to go to visit other companies, the clients, and talk about what you can sell, you have to know about that product or service first with details. For example, when I started working in the hotel industry, they said there is a procedure that you have to sleep in the hotel for almost a week or 10 days and try different rooms in this period of time. So each 2 days I was changing the rooms from the very basic category to the highest one. So I got to learn about the rooms, and when I'm going to the companies and offer them to send their guests to our hotel, I knew what are the services existing in that kind of room, because it's about categories, right?
Yeah.
So it was much easier for me experiencing and getting more about what I can offer to my client. It was really helping me to sell more, because when they ask you, what is this detail? What is that? How can you provide this? What is the, for example, whatever, anything they ask about the services or the products, the more you know, the more confident you seem to be in selling that kind of product or service, the more they can trust you. So
Definitely.
You can sell more.
That is true. And it's also the last tip we have, the sixth step, is to focus on making a process in your company that you are offering. Okay, we can call it procedures, process, because clients love to know what type of procedure your company has and to understand the process that you are offering. Once a client understands that and they feel comfortable with your procedures and your process in your offers,
Yes.
the communication becomes much stronger.
And easier.
Yes. And if you are organized and you have a process in your business, your client will feel much more will put much more trust in you, because you will seem professional, you will seem well organized, you will seem very good in business. So it's always very important to make a process, step 1, step 2, step 3, and
Until you get the business done
Exactly.
and the deal closed. Because just visiting, just sending an email, inviting them, or just send a proposal of what you have is not really enough. You have to keep following up, visiting them, explaining more, updating them, and then you can get some actually deals done.
Yeah, and the more you train yourself on this process, the more it becomes automatically done by yourself.
True.
Because you get used to it. Okay, now I called, now I'm gonna send the email, now I'm gonna meet him, then I'm gonna close the deal. Okay, you get used to it, and then your brain and body works together automatically.
Right.
After doing it once or twice and 3 times. You are training yourself and your whole company to this process. So you memorize your steps and become better and better and better at it.
Actually, this is a very good example, good tip to talk about. Usually here, in my experience, you do everything for the client or the potential client. You prepare everything, and then at the end of the process, since we are talking about process, they don't even know how to deal with you. Like, the company really doesn't know what is a contract. What does it mean to have a contract? Okay, so you guys discussed something, you agreed on it, you really want to do it together as 2 companies, 2 partners, client or the company, but then you don't make a contract. So imagine if anything happens during this process without a contract that you have mentioned all the details in, which is, I believe, the most important part of the process. You can't really defend anything. Like, you can't, even if you lose the business, it's your fault. You didn't have a contract to mention all the details and conditions in it. So, in my opinion, having a contract at the end of the process of selling is very important.
Definitely. And it's very important that you explain the process your company the company has to your client, because some clients get scared when they hear the word signature. I need your signature. I need your you can say it in a much more appropriate way. And you could, instead of saying I want you to sign this contract, you could simply say I want your approval on the paperwork. And if they say, well, why do you want me to sign? You can tell them, it's okay. This is just to keep your rights and my rights. So when you explain the process to the client, they will not feel very defensive or afraid to go on with you.
Yeah,
so
true.
So guys, this was the 6 tips on selling existing accounts. I hope you enjoyed it, and we have much more coming up on the Business Club. We're very excited about the interview with Mr. Stefan. He's the director of the International School of Shweifat. He will be sharing with you a lot about the curriculum of the Sabbath School, and also how he manages his time, organizes his time and responsibilities as a director. So we can all listen to him in the interview. Me and Paria prepared very, very nice questions. I hope you guys will enjoy it. And guys, don't forget, if you missed any of our shows, you can watch it. The full episodes are all available on YouTube, and you can simply find them by searching for our YouTube channel, M Radio Iraq. Okay guys, stay tuned. After this short break, we're going to have the interview with Mr. Stefan Kleinhans.
Business Club.
You lead.
We follow up.
So guys, we discussed how to sell more, and we gave you 6 tips to sell more in the first part of this episode. And now, as we told you earlier, we have with us Mr. Stefan Kleinhans, the director of the International School of Shweifat. How are you, sir?
Naji, thank you very much for having me, first of all. I'm doing really well, thank you.
Welcome, Mr. Stefan.
Thank you, Paria.
Before we begin our interview with Mr. Stefan, Paria would like to remind everyone
that this show is sponsored by Fury Hotel, and if you're watching the video on YouTube, please let us know about your comments.
Okay, so Mr. Stefan, for the listeners that don't know you, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, well, as I said, my name is Stefan Kleinhans. I've been with the International School of Shweifat Erbil for 4 years now. I've been in the Sabbath network for the last 13 years. I'm South African, and I'm here with my wife and my 2 children in Erbil.
That is interesting.
So, when was the International School of Shweifat founded in Kurdistan, Erbil, I mean? And why did Sabis decide to open a firm in Kurdistan at such an early stage?
Paria, well, we opened our doors in 2006. That's when Sabis decided to come to Kurdistan. The reasons for that was many, but the biggest motivation was to come and support the region rebuild after the war. And SABIS is a strong believer that education is the foundation of development and growth. And we saw an opportunity to come and make a difference, and partnering with the region as well.
And I think you did it.
Well,
so.
it's a work in progress, but we've had so many successes over the span of this period. And like I said, SABIS believes in the strong curriculum foundation that we give these students. And we felt for any region to really rebuild and to become successful, they need to start relying on their workforce, their local workforce, and not rely on external workforce coming in and giving them the manpower. So with the strength of the SABIS curriculum over these last few years, we believe strongly that we've helped develop a very strong, sustainable workforce in this region. Doctors, engineers, because these are the people, teachers, these are the people that need to really drive this region and the society here, and give a sense of community and a belonging of this nationality or this area that they live in. So that was the great motivation for SABIS to come here.
And what are the levels or grades that are available in the International School of Shweifat at the moment?
We are a KG1 to grade 12 school. English is our first language, instructional language that we give at SABIS. So from 3 years old, we accept students that start in KG1.
Oh, okay, till 12th grade.
Till 12th grade,
That's great. Okay.
So since you said since 3 years, right? Until almost the end of high school,
yes.
Right? So is that certificate you're providing for these students well known or recognized by other countries, like worldwide?
It's a very good question. Yes, most definitely our SABIS diploma is acknowledged internationally. Many parents would ask us when they join us, they say, are you an American system? Are you a British system? We're neither. We give our students a SABIS diploma, and this diploma basically opens the door to any university of their choice. And with our strong focus on external exams, we offer SAT 1, SAT 2, IGCSE, AS, AP exams, with all these TOEFL, with all these external exams. And our curriculum is developed to incorporate these external exam curriculums. So when a student gets to grade 10, 11, 12, and they start on their real journey for university applications, they can tailor-make their applications, basically. So most definitely it is an international acknowledged certificate. And something I want to mention as well is that we've recently released a list of universities that our students get accepted, not just at ISC or BO, but worldwide. We have 70 schools in the network, in the SABIS network, which all follow the same curriculum. And we have students attending over 40 universities in over 47 countries worldwide. And I did a rough count, and it comes down to about 120 universities that fall in the top 200.
Oh, wow.
So definitely this diploma prepares students for a level playing field on the international education.
Continuing education in good ranked universities around the world.
Some people that have said that the AMS exams are a bit hard or extreme on students. What are your comments about that?
Well, that's
sorry, to clarify for some listeners that have not visited Shweifat, AMS, what is AMS?
Yes, that was my first answer to your question. Is like we have to clarify them.
Yeah.
The AMS are academic monitoring system exams, which means they get a short exam on not a huge amount of material, the material they did the previous week, and this exam is weekly. We test it in English, science, and math. And then the periodic exams would be an exam that is scheduled periodically every 4 weeks in the various subjects that they would have. So to come back to your question, is it too much? This is a very interesting misconception, I believe, because we look at it from this point of view, that testing students on a regular basis is a huge benefit for them. Instead of leaving material until the end of the term, not testing students at all on this material or leaving it until the end of the year final exams, you're putting a student in a situation where he would have volumes of material that he needs to study and basically cram all the material before the exams, leaving him with not long-term retainment of the concepts, not mastering of concepts. So our approach is mastering of concepts. Number one is with these AMS exams, these weekly exams, we give the students the material they covered last week. We test them on these material and we try to see if they've mastered their essential concepts.
Before moving forward.
Before moving forward. I always explain it to a parent, it's like building a house. You don't lay another brick until the foundation is solid. If you see a crack, you fill the crack. And this is our second point, is we want to identify these gaps. So if you have a student taking a weekly exam, you immediately, as a teacher in the classroom or as an administrator following up with the parents, with the student, you know where these gaps are. So you can target it before they take their next week's exam. And then by doing this over a 4-week cycle, by the time they take their periodic, they are ready. It's not new material that they get tested on. So this is something we strongly believe in. And yes, the SABIS curriculum is an academic, challenging curriculum, and it does ask a lot from the students. But it is also a curriculum that is so well devised that if a student has self-discipline and he works on a regular basis, many of our students that really score well don't go home and study till late night because of the continuous follow-up, the continuous repetition of these essential concepts. Like we have got a tool that we call the prep list. And students have a long list of essential concepts that they have to pass. So if you fail an essential concept, it goes on your prep list. You have to master this concept and clear it. So as a student, you also know your roadmap. You know, why am I struggling in geometry? Oh, because this concept I never mastered. If I master this concept, this will help me to improve my results.
Definitely.
So yes, I hope that clarifies that,
that was a good
misconception.
explanation.
That was a very good
Thank you.
answer. Okay, Mr. Stefan, we're going to take a short break and we'll be back. Everyone that is listening, to our listeners on M Radio and our viewers on YouTube, stay tuned. We'll be right back after this short break. So guys, we're back on the Business Club, and if you just tuned in, we are interviewing the director of the International School of Shweifat, Mr. Stefan. How are you, sir? We're back with you again. Welcome again to the show.
Yeah, so we're going to continue more of kind of questions related to you yourself this time. So what are your main responsibilities as the director of the International School Shweifat?
Well, my main responsibility would be, as a director of a SABIS school in the network, is to apply the policies and the procedures that has been developed over the last 130 years in the network. So I do that through walking around, managing by walking around a lot. I believe as a school director, if you want to be successful, if you want to really get in touch with your culture, your parent community, let's say all your stakeholders, and we've got such a diverse range of stakeholders, from expat teachers to local teachers to local students to expat students, parents, government officials visiting the school. So I believe in order to really understand what everyone goes through is to walk by managing around. And through by doing that, you get to a lot of your tasks as a director in the day. I believe every director doesn't want to get locked behind his desk and get caught up in all the administrative tasks, because with the policies and procedures, there's a lot of admin work that comes with it, a lot of email. The email generation, or the email is a fantastic tool, but it is a tool that really binds you to your chair. So I do try to get out. I try to get with the kids on the playground, get in the cafeteria, get the feel of how the kids are doing. In the mornings, for example, I'll be standing, we have a tent where they exit the buses. I would be there greeting them in the morning, get the mood of the students, understand where we can maybe focus. I mean, you always have the one or two students that you feel you need to focus on, and a student that you haven't focused on the previous day, suddenly you see something is up and you can notify someone. And I think that relatability as a director as well makes the students want to come to you.
That's
I
right.
have an open door policy as well. My door is a lot of times closed, but I tell the people that's because I respect the privacy of the conversation. But anyone knows that they can knock on my door. Any kid, whether it's he lost his lunchbox or he has an issue with his friends in grade 2, or whether it's a more serious issue that we need to deal with discipline. These are, I think, the key successes of a director. And it's something I have to work on daily, is to remind myself, be out there, be with your kids, be with your staff. Because at the end of the day, I'm not the person in the classroom teaching.
Right.
I have to give the vision of what we are here, what we are doing here, and trust that the teachers will implement it. And I think and I feel if you're disconnected from your corridors, if the teachers don't see you outside or inside their classrooms, they kind of don't feel the support, or they feel that they become lone rangers. And this is a very important thing to avoid.
Yeah, definitely.
And this is the beauty of the SABIS school networks as well. As administrators, you are not forced, but you are encouraged to be inside the classrooms. We have a lot of class visits, and these are positive class visits. The teacher follow-up is key to our success. So the teachers also know that as administrators, we will be popping in. As I have an open door policy, their classroom needs to have an open door policy as well.
Definitely. And how do you manage to organize all these responsibilities and organize your time to fulfill all these responsibilities?
Well, not one day is the same. Not one single day for a school director is the same. I can tell you that I schedule my day and I schedule my appointments, but it is not possible for a director of a school of, let's say, 1,900 students. Things happen, and this is where the open door policy comes in again, where if you have a policy like that, your schedule kind of goes out of the window because you make yourself available for people. So you do need to be able to say no. You need to be able, as a school director, say no. Now, I have an appointment or I have a meeting, and then people cannot access you. And this is where you need to rely on your staff working for you. I've got an amazing team that I work with. None of the decisions that I make in the school, I make by myself. I always revert back to my team. My academic quality controllers, the people that take care of the academics, they're the expert in that field.
Yeah.
And I believe as a director, what would make you successful is if you don't try and be a lone ranger. You don't try and be the guy that make all decisions. At the end of the day, every decision made in the school comes on your shoulder, and it is your responsibility. But if you rely on your team, and I tap into them a lot of my day-to-day scheduling and managing the tasks, it's really delegating and trusting your team that you have trained them well, you've given them the vision that you want them to follow. Because the most important stakeholder in our school is a student. Like, we have the most precious belonging that anyone can imagine as a kid. Like, parents entrusted us with their children. So I also have to trust that whether it's a discipline issue, whether it is an academic issue, whether it is a frustrated parent that come in, that us as a team know what our roles are. And as a director, I need to know when to step in and step out and allow them to deal with
That's
the
right.
issues.
So, Mr. Stefan, there is a question I usually ask our guests. It's so important to me myself because what I am doing at the moment is not really related to my educational background. So can you explain for us about your own educational background and how it is related to your current career?
Well, I come from a family of teachers. And I think many kids growing up in a home where their parents are teachers say, I'll never become a teacher. So I didn't study to be part of an educational organization, but I studied human resource management, which means I love working with people. And it is the best decision I've made because that academic background allowed me to deal with all the various stakeholders that I deal with in the school. I believe that is the key to me being able to tap into our parent community, being able to relate to the teachers' issues that we have. And as a director, you're an HR manager ultimately, because your staff need to feel that they can come to you, not just with their challenges in the classroom, but there's many, especially the region we work in, there's so many external factors that play a role in this. So the human resource background definitely equipped me, I believe, for dealing with a school. And it never stops. I feel you always need to, and these days, try and develop yourself still professionally and see for opportunities to not just get stuck on what you did, and because the world is a changing place. That's our philosophy with our students.
And keep updating yourself.
Exactly. That's our philosophy with our students. We are preparing you for a changing world. So you need to be able to, 10 years after you got your school diploma or your university degree, be able to have the self-discipline to go and look at the gaps in the workforce and say, I need to sharpen the tool here. I need to really do a management course or a conflict management course, or go in a different direction because suddenly everything is going into a technological age, and we have to have different skill sets there.
And maybe what you study is not going to work anymore.
Exactly. And that's so true. And this is why we tell the students the external exams are important. Don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself, whether you're a school student or an adult or a university graduate. Never limit yourself, because the only thing you can take with you cannot take your car, your house, nothing else. You can only take what you learn.
Knowledge.
The only thing that you have is knowledge. So that's why it's so important.
Thank you.
That's very beautiful advice. I've noticed that I've studied also in Schweifert. I'm sure you know that.
Yes.
So it's very nice how the International School of Schweifert has a huge football stadium and basketball courts and a swimming pool, and also music classes and drama classes. So do you believe that it's nice that Schweifert doesn't only focus on mental education, but also on physical education, PE and art? So do you believe that it is important for everyone to have physical education as well as art education, even though they might be aiming to major futurely as a doctor or engineer?
Most definitely. I believe we believe, SABIS believes that extracurricular activities are a key in the success of a student's education as well. But I need to also be very clear, at SABIS, academics comes first, and our students know this. We do not let students fail in peace, and you know this because you were there. Like, we do put pressure on our students to perform academically at their level. But all these facilities that we have, it's not just at ISC Erbil. All the schools worldwide in the SABIS network provide these facilities, because we believe, and the beauty of this is, these facilities are available to the students during the day. So it's not just after school extracurricular activities, it's during the day. So the students have an opportunity to take a break from their academic environment, because that break is so important to them. We have a lunch and a student life lesson in the middle of the day. This is almost 2 hours of the day where students can go and find that passion they have. The art student or the science student that wants to work on his science fair project, or the Lego club, or the swimming club, or the basketball team practicing, or the football team practicing. We have such a wide variety of activities. And yes, we are fortunate that this year we upgraded our track to a state-of-the-art track now. And you can see the excitement in the students as well. And we believe that at SABIS that yes, the academics prepare you for becoming a doctor and an engineer and a teacher. But there are certain life skills that you learn from these activities. How to lose with dignity, how to win with honor, communication skills, conflict skills. We have the SABIS Student Life Organization, which is something that every school in SABIS has. And this is an organization where we empower students to become leaders and take ownership of their school. There's this dream that if we remove the director and the teachers, the students can run the school. And it's possible. We have an open house coming up on Friday, 4th of May. And if you have the opportunity to visit, you'll see our students, how they participate, how they take roles of adults on this day. Like the security on the campus. They would be wearing their shirts and they would be managing it. And we treat them like staff. So yes, academics are very important, and the extracurricular is very important. And I believe, again, through the Sabbath Student Life Organization and giving students that break in the day and also after school, it makes the students more well-rounded. It makes them competitive on a playing field outside, because many of our students sometimes feel like, how will I compete with a student that studied in, for example, this first world country or come from these schools? Our kids are on a level playing field. We have, Sabbath provides every second year a regional tournament where we take all the sports teams from all the schools in the region, Sabbath schools, and they compete almost like an international level.
I participated in that in basketball.
Yes, so you will know
Iraq
that.
lost terribly.
Well,
I wish my school had this.
Because at that time, Shwaifat only had till 10th grade.
yes.
And the teams against us were 2 years older
Way
from the other schools.
Well, I can proudly now say over the last 2-3 tournaments, we've made the podium, 3rd, 2nd place every time.
That's amazing.
And this is amazing for a student coming from this region to say that it's easy if we tell them, listen, guys, but you're taking the same curriculum as other students, but for them to go and compete and see, but we're on the level. We can compete with these guys. This is such a motivator for these students. And we also have an art one which is called the Sabbath Stars, that 3 weeks ago students came back. It's science fair, public speaking, drama, poetry, live drawing. So yes, we do develop students outside the academic sphere
Mr.
as
Stefan,
well.
thank you so much for your explanations, and I wish we had more time to ask more questions from you and get more information from you. But I'm gonna just end this episode in this interview by asking about your advice for those parents who are going to register their kids in schools. What kind of schools, what kind of factors they have to keep in mind when they are registering their kids in the schools?
My question always to a parent when I meet them, I would tell them, what is it that you want out of this? Like, you have to understand where you want your child to go. And my advice would be is we're a college preparatory school. So every single link between each other grade, our vision is to prepare them for grade 12 in order for them to apply to not one university, but multiple universities. So as a parent, I would say your first question should not come to your mind, ooh, will they work too hard? Will this be too tough for them? Life is tough out there. The world is tough. And what we're doing is, as I mentioned, we're preparing students for a changing world. And in order to prepare students for a changing world, in order for them to compete with the best of the best in the world, they have to work hard and they have to have a solid foundation in their education. And I can say without a doubt that I believe this is what Sabbath provides, like a solid foundation for a student. If he works hard, if he puts his mind to it, with all the support structures around them, this will give a student the opportunity. Now, I'm a parent, and at the end of the day, you just want a good future for your child.
Definitely.
Thank you, Mr. Stefan. It's a great honor to have you on our show, The Business Club. And it's been a great pleasure doing this interview with you.
Thank you for having me.
Before you leave, I'd love to give you this gift card that you could use for free dinner and drinks at Moonroof in Fury Hotel, our sponsor, for you and your family. And I'm sure they would be also honored to have you there.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very, very much.
Have you been to Moonroof before?
Once.
Oh,
I've
okay,
been there.
great.
Yes. So
Okay.
this is definitely something I would look forward to.
They've
Thank
done
you very
some
much.
upgrades, and I think you're gonna like it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for
You're
this, Jason.
welcome.
Really
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it. Thank you.
Okay, guys, this was Mr. Stefan, the director of Sabbath International School of Shwaifat. Stay tuned. We have much more coming right up after this short break.
And guys, we're back again on the Business Club. Text us if you have any question, idea, or message at 0750-788-0606, or comment on the video if you're watching us on the YouTube channel. We hope you enjoyed the interview with Mr. Stefan, the director of the International School of Shwaifat Erbil. Don't forget, this show is sponsored by Fury Hotel.
So guys, remember, it's very easy to find our YouTube videos and photos with the guests, with our director, Mr. Shabo, my photo and Paria's photos. It's all very easy to find all of this on our website. You can just type www.mradioiraq.com and then you can see how we look like if you are listening to us on the radio. So guys, let's begin with the top 5 tips from the late Nelson Mandela. For the people who don't know who Nelson Mandela is, he was born on the 18th July 1918 and passed away on December 2013. And he was a South African anti-apartheid revolutionary, political leader and philanthropist who served as the president of South Africa from 1994 to 1999. He was the country's first black head of state and the first elected in a fully representative democratic election. So it's really amazing, all the achievements and the way Mr. Nelson Mandela's think. Even though we have a lot of different presidents, I think that from the research that I've done, most of the people on earth, the entire world, like you can say most of them, they really admire his personality and way of thinking. So now we're going to start with the 5 main tips from Nelson Mandela, and let's hear tip number 1.
By the way, what a coincidence. Our guest was also from South Africa.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Yeah, guys.
Shout out to South Africa.
Yes, we love you. So the first tip he's gonna talk about and we're gonna share with our listeners is about demand respect. So Mr. Nelson Mandela shares with us his story about how he demanded respect even in prison.
Oh, that's very interesting. Let's check it out, guys.
You must fight the battle for dignity on the very first day you go to jail.
Really?
And that's what we did. We put our foot down and insisted in being respected, even though we're prisoners. And we eventually succeeded in that.
All right, so I think it's clear enough. Respect is something that everyone is looking for, right? No matter what your relationship is with your family, friends, co-workers, boss, clients, you always have to look for and demand for respect. Sometimes in this part of the world, like in the Middle East, some people in lower positions are not really respected. Some higher positions, they look at them like, oh, look, they are not in our level, right? Next, let's not talk with them even. Let's not respect them. But honestly, respect should be always there, whatever position you are in. Even if you're a housekeeper, a cleaner, or just a very, like, even, I don't know how to say it. I don't want to disrespect the levels, you know, the positions. But usually, even if you're not a manager, if you're not in a high position in your company, in your relations, but still you have to respect others. And others, even if they are in a low position, they always have to demand for respect. This is something very important to be successful in business. Yeah,
and you know, the problem that Mr. Nelson Mandela had, that he was in prison. Like, for example, if you are in at work and you are not respected, you can quit and find another workplace.
Which I did a lot of times.
Yeah. If you are, for example, not respected from your friend, you can leave him and find another friend.
Definitely.
But he was in prison. It wasn't like he had a choice, but he took a stand and he said, I am Nelson Mandela. If you want me to answer to you, you have to call me by my name, Mandela. You don't disrespect me, okay? And this is something very beautiful.
This means that he knew he is somebody by himself. He believed in himself first. This is a very initial point that you have to have.
Yeah. So demand respect. I like how he says demand respect, not ask for respect, demand respect.
It's much stronger, yeah.
So that's why it's always good to end any relation or friendship or anything if you feel like the other person is not going to respect you and it's not going to change after you demand your respect.
Because
and you see that it's not going to happen, then it's always better to just walk away and find someone else that will respect you and know your value.
Definitely, because at the end we are all human, right? No matter what our color
Exactly.
is, what our age is.
Even dogs, if you shout at them or hit them,
Definitely.
they get offended.
True.
You know, they are animals, but they have feelings.
Right.
So imagine a human.
Any creature.
Yeah. So
That's right. We have to always keep respect and demand for it.
now the next tip from Mr. Nelson Mandela, and it's one of my favorite, is prove them wrong. We will not discuss it yet. First, I want you to listen to him. And after that, we will explain and discuss it more with you guys. Let's see what Mr. Nelson Mandela's mean by when he says, prove them wrong.
When I found some place in my country and a lady answered the telephone, I then asked, to whom am I speaking? She said, you're speaking to me. I said, well, lady, I know I'm speaking to you, but what's your name? She said, who are you to ask for my name? What's your name? I say, well, lady, as soon as you tell me your name, I'll tell you mine. But as we argued as to who should tell his or her name, she became very cross. And she said, you seem to be a backward person. Have you passed your matric? Now, matric in our country is a university entry examination. And I said, well, lady, you must be very careful. Because if the qualification to speak to you is the possession of a matric certificate, I might work hard and pass my matric and be in the same class as you are. That was treason. She said, you will never be in my class, and bang the telephone.
So you see, it's really funny that that lady asked him for a metric certificate to be able to talk with her, and now, well, not now, but at the time, after a couple of years, he became the president.
Yes.
You know, and he proved her wrong, that he can
Be someone. Yeah.
And it's always a very great feeling when someone tells you you're nothing, you'll never be anything, you're a loser, you are this, and then you come back after a couple of months or years and you say, hi, how are you?
This is me. The one you were bullying one time.
Exactly, you know,
Yeah.
and you prove them wrong, and it's such a great feeling.
But again, it goes back to how much you believe in yourself. Do you agree with that?
How much you believe in yourself, and also sometimes the competition feeling, the competitive feeling, or the feeling of revenge. Even though revenge is such an ugly word, but if you are taking revenge by being successful,
It's good.
I think you should take revenge.
Definitely.
If you are not hurting anyone, if you are being successful and showing, hey, this is what you could have got, you know, but you
And
lost.
there's nothing that I can't do.
So this is a beautiful thing, beautiful advice from Mr. Nelson Mandela.
Yes, true. So the next tip that Nelson Mandela, the president of South Africa in the past, in the history, wants to share with us is to be humble. So the more, I think he is mentioning this because being humble is something very easy, but at the same time so effective to communicate. And communication is very important in our lives. Like, we have to always keep this communication in the right way.
Let's watch the video and then we will discuss it, me
Sure.
and you. I'm sure our viewers and listeners are excited. Let's check it out, guys.
The first thing is to be honest with yourself. You can never have an impact on society if you have not changed yourself. And one of the most important weapons in changing yourself is to recognize that people everywhere in the world want peace. But humility is one of the most important qualities which you must have. Because if you are humble, if you make people realize that you are no threat to them, then people will embrace you. They will listen to you.
So we sometimes get into some situation that we really get angry, get bothered, or we are not really in a good mood to react in a proper way. But we have to keep being humble, because this is how we can affect, because this is how we can send our message out there, right? If not being humble, we can't really communicate. We can't really be the one we want to be, and people see that person in us, right?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, before we listened to Mr. Nelson, you said it's very easy to be humble. To be honest, I disagree on this small point. It's not easy sometimes to be humble, because being humble for many people that are in high positions, for example, they got used to being the, for example, center of attention, or they got used to being too serious and to show off, So it's not always easy to be humble, especially when you are around people that you feel threatened by, and if you are humble around them,
agree.
They will eat you.
Yes,
and I don't mean literally. But metaphorically, they will take your character and crush it. So in this type of situations, it's very hard to be humble. But still, of course, who am I to disagree with Nelson Mandela? It's if you see how he sits, how he talks, he does wear a suit, but you can see he is not a show off.
Yes.
And he is not someone who's saying, look at me. He's saying, look at my country's struggle.
Right.
Look at my people. And this is what makes a leader a great leader, when he is humble, because his team or his people will appreciate that.
Definitely. Like our guest today, he explained how he is visiting the students, even if he's the director of the school. He's going and talking with the students, sit with them, having conversations with them, ask them about their problems sometimes, play with them. So this means that he is humble. He has a lot of pressure, I'm sure, but he's still trying to stay humble, and that's how he's being successful.
Yeah, and being humble doesn't mean that you don't have a character. No, you can have a character, but being humble is very nice, because it will make others feel like you are not stepping on them. Shout out to our director, Mr. Shabo Mikhail, one of the most humble people I've met.
Definitely.
And so what do you think about the next point? He says, take a stand. And what do you think? Okay, let's listen to the video first, because Nelson Mandela stands against the opinion of the United Nations, against all odds, and speaks. Let's listen to what he says and what he has to say.
Let's go.
One of the mistakes which some political analysts make is to think that their enemies should be our enemies. That we can and we will never do. We have our own struggle which we are conducting. We are grateful to the world for supporting our struggle. But nevertheless, we are an independent organization with its own policy. And the attitude of every country towards our attitude towards any country is determined by the attitude of that country to our struggle.
So you see, wow, his words were very, very touching. You know, for some people, because I'm sorry, the quality of his voice might not be very good, and the way he speaks, some people might
it's
not.
Old video, yeah.
Yeah, and some people might not understand his accent. So I will explain. He was telling this person that asked him if he is with Gaddafi and all these people. And the United States was asking him, the United Nations, was asking him, are you with these people? Because they are against them. He said the biggest mistake political leaders make is thinking that their enemies should be our enemies.
Oh, yeah.
And you can take that sentence and put it in business, you can put it in friendship, you can put it in many things. Just because someone hates someone, that doesn't mean you have to hate them.
Yes.
And the bigger picture out of what he's saying, is that you have to take a stand for what you believe. Sometimes you have to put your foot down and say no. Just because all of you guys hate that guy or hate that country, I'm not gonna hate it. He said he's good with me. Gaddafi, he helps my struggle. That's what he said. He said he donates money.
Yeah.
He helps us. So why should we hate him? He's good with us. He's bad with you, not
Naji,
with us.
Actually, this reminded me of a memory in the university. There was a guy everybody was hating, and I was all the time asking myself, why would everybody hate this person? And sometimes I started asking questions like, why do you hate this guy? And they never had an answer. They were like, because he told me he's not a good guy. Because he told me he's doing this. I said, what about your idea? Have you been even communicating with this person so far?
Yeah.
How do you know?
Yeah.
So just don't do this to yourself. So have a conversation with him, see if you can be the best friends. Maybe you can. And you can benefit from each other. And actually, I was his best friend that time.
That's nice of
And
you.
it worked. We were really good friends. We helped a lot.
You know, Paria, when he says take a stand, and from what he did, because let's think about this. The United Nations asked him a straight question, and I like how he told her, I'm glad you had the courage to be straightforward with your answer, with your question, So after they asked him this question, many people were expecting him to say, no, you know, he helps us, but of course, like you guys, we are against him, we don't like him. But no, he took a stand. He said the truth, not what people wanted to hear or what people wanted to see. And in business, sometimes you also have to take a stand on what you believe in.
But you know what I hate? Sometimes when people say, don't talk with this person or this company or you know, this group of people. When you do it, you take a stand and you do what you want.
Definitely.
Then if something happens, they will come back to you. Didn't I tell you?
Yeah.
I told you this guy is gonna hurt you. But again, it doesn't really matter. It was your decision.
Yeah.
You learned from it, and you had something. You had some reason to do this. So don't worry about what people say.
One time I was doing a business deal with a client, and another client told me, "Oh, don't work with that company because they don't pay. They never pay." I told them, maybe they don't pay you. They pay me on time. So I'm happy with them. It's not if they don't pay you, that's your problem.
Maybe
for me,
you
they
disrespected
pay me.
them. Yeah.
You know, so it's always you have to take a stand and do what you believe in.
Definitely.
Let's move on to the last tip.
All right. So the last tip is going to be about not being worried about the labels. So let's listen carefully to what Nelson Mandela mean about in this point.
Okay.
We are not concerned with models. We are not concerned with labels. We are practical men and women whose solutions are dictated by the actual conditions existing in our country. As somebody has said, we do not care whether the cat is black or white, as long as it can catch mice.
So labels are everywhere, Naji, right?
Yeah.
we are being called with different names, like socialist, like, I don't know, perfectionist, like narcissist, you know. But we don't really have this all the time with us. So that's not something to be focusing on. Maybe I am narcissist at some point, but if they keep telling me about that, this shouldn't make me lose concentration on what I'm doing.
Can you explain what narcissist mean for the listeners that don't know?
Narcissist means the person who loves themselves more than anything else. So any label is coming to me, or anybody in business especially, they shouldn't really care about it. Because this make you lose focus on what you're doing and as business. So I think just keep doing the right thing, and maybe you have different characteristics in different levels, different situations, and you are not a person to be called by one name or one label. So just keep doing the right thing, and the right thing will come to you.
Yeah. In regarding to business, labels are also can be the position names. You know, sometimes we really care about these things, and we want to have a great label on our office door or on our business card. And really, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what's written on your card. It matters what you're actually doing. Okay, if on your card it says CEO, or it says executive director, and you're not doing anything, then you are not an executive director.
Yes.
If it says sales manager and you're not doing anything, then you are not a sales manager, because these are just labels.
True.
You know, when I started in my sales career, I started as a salesman, then sales consultant, then sales manager. And when I got to the sales manager, I looked around and I thought, what? This is the same thing I was doing when I was a salesman. It's just that you have to be a little bit more organized.
I remember I was so
it's
concerned.
the same thing, you know? It's the exact same thing. So these are all just labels, and you shouldn't really care about that much, okay? Would you rather be a salesman making $5,000 a month, or a sales manager making $500 a month? To be honest,
Yes.
I'd rather be a salesman at that point.
Yeah.
You know, I'm making more money and achieving more and growing more. Okay, but here, this company, they're calling you a salesman, and this company is calling you I don't care. At the end of the day, when you go to sleep, you know what you are achieving.
Right.
You know, there are cleaners in Dubai that make more money than people here that are lawyers. Okay, I'm sorry to say that, but this is true. So the labels don't matter. What really matters is you between yourself. When you look yourself in the mirror at the end of the day or at the beginning of the day, you look yourself and you say, you know what? I'm happy. When in this position, in what I'm doing in business, in the decisions I'm making, I'm happy.
Yes.
What you want to label me doesn't matter.
Definitely.
Once you can do that, I think you'll
Yeah,
be
I
on the
remember
right track.
at some point in my career, I was really concerned about the position name, because I started as a executive sales executive, and then after a while, I was always I kept asking my manager, when am I going to get promoted? They were like, okay, just keep going, keep doing your job, and you will get it. But then I realized that this doesn't really matter. It's your action which talks.
Definitely.
So the labels are just there
Yeah.
to maybe sometimes introduce yourself, but nothing really in
Yeah,
matters in labels.
definitely. Okay, guys. So this was the 5 tips from Mr. Nelson Mandela. We would like to say to Mr. Nelson Mandela, rest in peace and God have mercy on your soul. You were one of the greats, and we will also always talk about you and remember you in our days. Okay, guys, so we got to the end of our show, and we want to remind everyone that Fury Hotel is our official sponsor for this show, Business Club. We really hope you enjoyed this episode. Tell us, what part of the show did you enjoy the most?
This is Business Club episode 7. Search on YouTube by simply typing Business Club M Radio with the number. Check out our website mradioiraq.com, where you can find all our social media platforms, or follow us on Facebook, at AIM Radio 105.5 FM.
Yes, and our YouTube channel, guys, is very easy to find. It's M Radio Iraq. Very easy to type. And guys, we want you to know, we want to really know in this episode, where are you from? Where are you listening from? Are you listening from Erbil? Are you listening from Dohuk? Or are you listening from Slemania? We want to make a statistic to find out where do we have the most listeners. So please text in your name and region to our page. You can find it from our website www.mradioiraq.com, or you can text us a message on our mobile 0750 788 0606. And just let us know. We really want to know if you're listening to our show on M Radio 105.5 FM. Which region are you listening from? And if you are listening to us online on YouTube, please also tell us from which country you are. We are very interested to know. We are happy to see that we are getting more audience day by day.
Yes.
And we're very interested to know where you're from.
And if you have any idea about what subjects you want us to talk about in the next episodes, just feel free. We are waiting for your comments.
Yeah, make suggestions and we will do our best. This was Naji Assafiri
And Paria Pourmozafari.
on the Business Club. Business Club, you lead.
We follow up.
Business Club, sponsored by Fury Hotel.